What if the new American dream isn't to come to America, but to leave it behind? For generations, the United States was painted as the promised land, the shining city on a hill, the place where the world's tired, poor, and hungry came to chase opportunity. But in 2025, the numbers tell a different story. For the first time in modern history, more Americans are renouncing citizenship and starting over abroad than ever before. The media barely whispers about it, politicians ignore it, and the government would rather you not notice. But it's happening, and it raises a chilling question. Why are Americans fleeing their own country at an alarming rate? The official line is simple: globalization, retirement abroad, lower costs. That's what the headlines say. But beneath the surface, the exodus reveals something darker. People aren't leaving just for sunshine or cheaper rent. They're leaving because they no longer believe in the system. They've lost faith that the country once sold as the land of freedom has anything left to offer. Look around. Sky-high housing costs, medical bills that can wipe out a family overnight, wages frozen for decades while inflation eats every paycheck, endless political theater where nothing changes. Millions of people connect the dots. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed to keep them trapped. And once you see that, the only question left is, why stay? It's not just radicals saying this. Ordinary families are doing the math. Why pay $2,500 for a shoebox apartment in Los Angeles when you could live in Mexico, Costa Rica, or Portugal for far less? Why drown in medical debt when other countries offer healthcare? Why watch your kids pile up loans when universities overseas charge pennies? Quietly, thousands are leaving each month. Not immigrants coming in, but Americans going out. The great reversal. And yet the mainstream barely talks about it. Why? Because America's image depends on one myth, that everyone wants to be here. If too many realize the dream works better in reverse, that life outside the US offers more freedom, more value, more stability, the illusion shatters. And once the illusion is gone, the system collapses. For decades, politicians weaponized fear. If you leave, you'll regret it. But what happens when Americans leave and discover the opposite? Lower crime, cheaper health care, affordable homes, a slower pace of life, governments that, while imperfect, don't bankrupt you for breaking an arm or sending your kid to college. Those people come back with stories that make others question why they're still grinding inside a system that treats them like disposable cogs. And it's not just economics, it's psychology. Americans are waking up to the fact their votes don't matter. Every election is sold as the most important in history. Every cycle promises change, yet nothing changes. The wars continue, the debt climbs, the billionaires get richer, the poor get poorer. Congress debates theater while the country burns. Slowly, people realize democracy, as sold to them, is little more than an illusion. And once you see through it, you either submit or escape. That's why immigration isn't just a statistic, it's a signal, a silent vote of no confidence in the American system, a mass protest that happens not in the streets, but at the passport office. And the government knows it. That's why they make renouncing citizenship so expensive. That's why they tax citizens even if they live abroad. That's why they bury the numbers. Because if the exodus became common knowledge, it would prove the unthinkable, that the empire is crumbling from within. Why now? History offers clues. When empires collapse, the signs appear in the same places: corrupt leadership, decaying infrastructure, inequality, and mass disillusionment. Rome had its bread and circuses. America has TikToks and credit cards. Rome had endless wars. America has military bases on every continent. Rome had elites hoarding wealth while citizens starved. America, same story, different costumes. But here's the twist. The American empire isn't collapsing quietly. It's being dismantled. And the exodus isn't just a side effect. It's part of the plan. Drive the middle class into the ground. Inflate prices until families can't survive. Make the system so unbearable that those with resources flee, while those without are left behind. A smaller, weaker, dependent population is easier to control. Those who stay will work harder for less, trapped by debt and surveillance. Those who leave will be painted as traitors. But in reality, they may just be the first to see the writing on the wall. Look at the numbers. In the last decade, renunciations of U.S. citizenship have skyrocketed. In 2020, despite lockdowns, more than 6,000 Americans gave up their passports, a record high. By 2025, estimates suggest tens of thousands quietly leaving each year, and that's just the official count. How many more live abroad permanently while still technically tied to a system they no longer believe in? Nobody knows. Maybe that's by design. Because here's the real trick. America needs you to believe you have no better options, that leaving is impossible, that every other country is dangerous, corrupt, or poor, that the dream only exists here. But what if that's the lie? What if the dream is alive and well, just not inside US borders? The people leaving aren't crazy. They're not reckless. They're not anti-American. They're simply awake. They've seen that the land of the free now feels more like the land of the trapped. Trapped in debt, trapped in politics, trapped in a system designed to extract everything until nothing's left. And while the media distracts with culture wars and celebrity scandals, the migration continues. The numbers grow, the cracks widen, and maybe that's the real nightmare for those in power. Because once enough people leave, once enough Americans discover life beyond the borders and speak the truth, the illusion collapses. The empire loses its mystique, the control slips, and the people left behind begin to ask dangerous questions. Why are we still here? Why are we still paying into a system that bleeds us dry? What if we all decided to walk away? Maybe that's why emigration numbers are suppressed. Maybe that's why you rarely see mainstream reports. Because the truth is contagious. If too many realize the exit doors are wide open, the system loses its grip. And the one thing empires fear more than invasion, rebellion, or collapse is irrelevance. So here we are, 2025. The American dream reversed. The country that once promised opportunity now exports disillusionment. The land that once drew millions now quietly drives them away. And the question left for each of us is simple. Is this a coincidence or part of a plan? You be the judge. If you're awake, you already know what to do. Hit the link in our description and join our underground newsletter.